All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Today is the 19th of January, 2024. So we're getting midway through January, a little bit more. So the new year is cranking right along. And the purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is to analyze stocks that you bring to this event. And we usually end up with quite a few really good trades to take after this event. So definitely stay for the entire thing. If you do have to leave, you can check out the recording and we'll highlight the winners there as well. All right, and for those that don't know me personally, I am Bennett McDowell with TradersCoach.com, also with AppliedRealityTrading.com. And go ahead and type your stocks in at this time. I'm going to go through a few administrational items, but go ahead and type your stocks in caps for us, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so let me zone out here and go into what I need to talk about today. And the first thing, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. You need to be aware of the risks. There's different kinds of risks. One of the best way to protect yourselves to begin with is to fund your trading account with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. And then, of course, on each and every trade, calculate your trade risk, the possibility of loss if the trade does not go the way you anticipate it to. And we do that, of course, through trade size calculations. I've got a couple books that tell you how to do that, and I'll show you those in just a moment. And then finally, please check with your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure any of the suggestions we have here are suitable for you. Some may or may not be, depending on your personal situation, and they know that. All right, so the next thing finally is that, past performance in the markets doesn't guarantee future performance. We deal in a realm of probabilities. It's kind of like weather forecasting. We go with the highest probability forecast, but at times we're just not right. And when we're not right, that's where you have to have good risk control to keep those losers small while you're letting those winners run. All right, so if you want to learn more about risk control, I got a couple books available on our Amazon bookstore. They are available also in major bookstores. A money management system, first published by Wiley, is a good one, and also money management for traders as well. Then I have the Elliott Wave Technique Simplified, which is a form of technical analysis on a specific type of technical analysis called the Elliott Wave. And then my newest book, The Art of Trading, second edition, is coming out in 2024, again being published by Wiley. And I think that's going to be the best book I've ever written. A lot of good content going into that, very appropriate for this time in the markets. And also, too, I'm going to be covering our new software since my first book came out back in 2008. And then I have the Survival Guide for Traders, which basically is a great book on how to run your trading right from your home with today's technology. And so therefore, you can compete with some of the major players. So that's a great book and all available at our Amazon bookstore. And I'll put a link up for these in the recording for you. All right, so give us a like, do it right now, subscribe and share. The more people we get to come here, all right, the more stocks we get to look at. So it's definitely a win-win situation. And of course, the more stocks we get to look at, the more potential ones that we'll find for us to trade for this week. All right, and so again, we're here every 8 a.m. Pacific time on Fridays. All right, let me get out of here. All right, and let me just give you a quick rundown before I start getting into the stocks on what you're looking at here. So those of you that are new, I'm using a platform called NinjaTrader, and in NinjaTrader, all of our software is installed. And our software works on NinjaTrader, TradeStation, MultiCharts, MT4 and 5, and eSignal, all the major platforms. And I've got the 60-minute chart on the far left. So every price bar represents an hour. That's what that means. And that is considered a fairly short-term chart. And so that gives us a view of whatever we're looking at in the short term. And then we have a daily chart in the center, and each price bar here represents a full day of activity. This chart is probably what you're used to looking at, especially if you're position trading. And when you open up a website or usually go to some magazine or something and they show a chart of a stock or the markets, it's usually the daily chart. So this is kind of the normal type of chart you would see in that particular type of situation. And then on the far right, we have the weekly chart, which gives us a longer term aspect of the market we're looking at, where every price bar represents a full week. So now what I've done here is I put the same stock in, and then I've divided up on the 60, the daily, and the weekly charts. So I have a short-term look at it, a daily look at it, and a weekly look at it. And basically that helps me with my timing. So I kind of like to make sure I know what's going on in each chart in order to make a good decision on whether I should enter now or not. And you'll see me when I look at stocks today do that kind of thing. On the top, I've got our scanner running. This is our multicolored window up here. We're not going to be using that today because you are going to give me the picks today, so I don't have to scan for them. And then on the charts themselves, you'll see these little triangular areas here. All right, and basically these are our pyramid trading points. And this is part of the ART software. And basically the way that works, it looks for fractal trending markets, trends in the market you're looking at. And we have entries and exits based off this. We trail our stops up on this. So it really takes a look at price patterns, the momentum that went into forming those price patterns, and gives us a high probability trend trading signal. And then at the bottom here, we have what we call the OWL indicator. This is indicating the momentum and helps us count the Elliott wave. So for those Elliott wave people, this would be a wave 3. There are 5 waves in a trend. So after 3, you usually have a correction down to a fib target zone and then a rebound into the last leg up to end the trend, which is wave 5. So that helps us with that. And then below that, we have the precision trend filter indicating whether we have more highs or lows on that time frame. And then the trend line master underneath that tells us the trend. So it's green, so it's up. And then the emotional reader index is looking for any fear and greed in the markets that gets over accentuated, creating a bubble, whether it's up or down. So that's our software plugged into each time frame. All right, so let's get going here. All right, we usually got quite a few to look at. Al, I'm going to start with you. Welcome. We're going to take a look at some of his here. By the way, just before we get going now, this is GBTC we have. This is the ETF for Bitcoin. And we're anticipating a pullback into this profit-taking target area here, which is a wave 4 area. And we're kind of working our way down here. And I notice on the 60-minute chart over here, we've got a red owl. So the momentum is now red. We've got bearish pyramids. And then we've got a red PTF. So more lows are coming short term in Bitcoin. And so that is what that is telling us there. So there it is right there. So a little bit more downside. And I think probably what we'll do next week is look at this again. I'm anticipating a red owl over here. And that will also occur when we get down into that target zone there. So when that happens, we'll look for bullish momentum to come back in, and that will be probably another buy signal at that time. Overall, I'm very bullish on the crypto market, whether it's Coinbase, whether it's blockchain, whatever it is. Those markets are looking really good, but they are going to have a pullback after this tremendous run up they've been in really since September. So we're kind of just due for some profit taking. So I think you can get in at a better price if you just wait a little bit in case you miss this. All right, so let's get on with Al's picks here. Let's take a look at BSEM. BSEM. And give that a second to load there. All right, so Al, let's see what you're doing on these. You probably, I don't know if you're short, long on these or whatever, but at this particular time, it looks like on the 60-minute chart on the far left, we've got a little bit of red coming in. So it looks like that did not sync over here. Let's hold that 1 second. Make sure that syncs over. That's still GBTC over there. Okay, it looks like it's loading. A little bit of slow data loading today. All right, let's focus then on the daily and the weekly chart and see if that loads. All right, so the problem with this, Al, yes, it's in a bullish uptrend, so hopefully you're not short on this. But in this particular case here, it's a little extenuated, all right? You're chasing the market if you get in now. So let's take a look here at the long-term aspect of this. All right, you're definitely in a basing pattern here. So hopefully you got in earlier. And if you look at the 60-minute chart here, we got bearish divergence building in the owl. So bearish divergence means when you had one high here with an extreme owl histogram, and then the market makes highs, and yet the owl is not as high as the previous one. That is usually an indication that the trend is getting too mature to really enter into it. So at this particular point, I would wait for a pullback. I like the long-term chart, no question about it. It looks like it's basing, probably heading back up at some point, but I would wait for a pullback before going into that. Let's take a look at your next one, TSM, and see how that one's doing. All right, that loads a little faster. All right, so we had a gap up on the 60 and the daily chart. So this thing has really rebounded nicely off that particular bottom. Red PTF is still there. So that PTF has got to turn green on the weekly chart before I would initiate any type of buy on that. The PTFs are indicating more highs short term, but not enough to indicate a decent target zone at this point. So again, I would pass on that because of the red PTF on the weekly chart. All right, let's take a look at your next one, MBC. All right, so this one also is bounced off the bottom here. Again, more highs are most likely coming, but we've already jumped up. Now, the pyramids, our pyramid trading points for our software would have had you in a lot earlier, right around 45. So I'm a little reluctant to get you in the 50s here because I think probably we may get another pullback here. We're up around 62 actually. So it gapped back up today. So I don't know if you had a situation on this where you had great news, buyout contender or whatever, but it's too high right now. I would not trade it at this point. Wait for a pullback on this one too. As a general rule, I'm not one to chase markets. And so even though something is still bullish, if it's a run up already, I'm probably not going to recommend that simply because I think probably you're getting in too late. So you got to be careful about that. All right, FAST, FAST. Let's take a look at FAST here. All right, FAST is also going up here as well. Hey, if you're long on these, you're in good shape. Just use the pyramid. So our stop on this would be right under this pyramid trading point, which is taking into account the pullback here. So your first entry would have been down here in the 50s, and then you would have trailed your stop up under the bottoms of these pyramids. That's how the software works. So your stop would be right under here now. And so because of that, that basically low there is around $61.33. So you want to put your stop one tick under that. Again, if you're not in it, I wouldn't chase it right now. All right, so that's kind of FAST. All right, let's take a look at your next one, CMCSA. Let's see if I got data for this one, Comcast. Pretty sure I do. There we are, okay. All right, so Comcast now is an interesting animal here. We've got red PTFs across the board, so I do like that. So the next question is this good enough for a short trade? All right, let's see where the target could be on this. So we're looking at a low right around here on this time frame of 28.39. Same low here is 37.92. So this low here, actually on the weekly chart, is your better target zone. So I would say CMS or CMCSA is a good short trade. So I'm liking that. So I think you can go into this at this particular point because all time frames are indicating that. Now you need to put your stop up in this level here. Okay, so your stop needs to go above the high here, which I believe is $45. So $45 and at least 1 cent. Let me just see if this one is higher. Okay, yeah. So that one's 47. Okay, but the 41 would be the top of this pyramid here. If you can, it would be best to put it above this price bar here on the weekly chart. So that'd be 47.47. All right, that would be the best place for your stop. If you can't do that, then use this stop here and calculate your trade size. So that's going to depend really on your account size. Now, if you want to buy a put here or something like that, I'm sure you could do that as well. Now, you may get a little bit of a rebound up into the 40, maybe 40-ish range, 44 range, maybe. Okay, don't be surprised about that. But this is a good one to go ahead and take. So this is a short trade that I would recommend. And your target I would put down here at the bottom of this price bar, which is what we call a PTF target. And that's $28.39. So that's your target. And that's based off this indicator here, indicating that there's a 75% probability prices will back around and go down here like that. So the PTF indicator, basically we use for scalping quick markets like this. And actually this will be it'll take a little while to get down there because this is a weekly chart. You should get down into the 30s fairly quickly, like within the next 2 or 3 weeks. But to get down to that lower figure on the weekly chart, you might have to wait, of course, longer. The PTF has a 75% probability, which is darn good in the markets. So that's indicating that. What the PTF doesn't tell you is when that's going to happen and if you're going to get any profit taking on the way down to that level. All right, so stop loss placement is very important. So I'm going to put that on the recommended buy for a short trade. All right, let's move on here. HDB. All right, HDB, all right, definitely falling off the cliff today. All right, I would not recommend this for a short trade, messy market, leave it alone. I would imagine if you're trading this on any time frame, you would have been stopped out by now. So that one is not good. All right, KMX, let's take a look at that one. All right, KMX, a lot of bearishness here. I'm seeing the target based on the PTF on the daily time frame is probably around 59.72. We're at 67. All right, so okay, and then you got to put your stop here. So probably this would have been a better one to place an entry as soon as you could off the 60-minute chart because you got the pyramids on that chart. So it's too late to get into this one, okay? So pass on this one, KMX. AFL, let's take a look at that one. All right, AFL, hopefully you're in that to the long side already. If you are. Now, a couple things here, all right? You're getting a little toppy here. So if you were using our pyramids, you would have been out already, okay? You would have been stopped out. So you're out, okay? I wouldn't put you back in, wait for the correction, probably get down to around somewhere in the 70s, and then it probably might not be a bad buy. We'll look at it again there. So AFL is a no-go. DKNG, let's take a look at that one. All right, so this one's popped up off its resistance area. We had a profit-taking area that we were kind of counting on the market coming down, and it did that. So this entry would have been better off right around the 34.30 range, and now we're up to 37.23. Let's take a look and see what we think our target could be on this. All right, so a couple things. One is there's not a lot of history on this, okay? So that creates a difficult Elliott wave confirmation. Now, almost looks a little bit like the crypto market, right? Where it's come up and come down. So let's just say in terms of this, we're kind of probably at the high end of the move up. So let's see if this thing corrects down a little bit further, okay, before initiating a buy on it. If you're in it, you're probably still in it with your stop right here at this pyramid here, okay? But at this particular point, I'm not going to recommend it. So that's DKNG. Let's take a look at your next one, APP. All right, APP coming up as well. All right, this is kind of an interesting one. You go back to what, 2009, decent amount of history, big move up here on that. And now we're kind of come up to an area here again. I think it's toppy. All right, we had a big move up. You know, I don't want to put anybody in here and then only have it correct to here, okay, before it heads back up. Could you get one more high? Yeah, but you're on borrowed time. So why choose something like this that may give you something maybe to 47, but the downside is, you know, maybe in the 20s or 30s, okay? So again, no go on that one, APP, all right? Let's take a look at EYPT. All right, gap up. And gaps can sometimes have a tendency to fill, especially if they don't come in the beginning of the trend. All right, so definitely more highs are coming on this. You've got a green PTF and a huge green owl on the weekly chart. Again, not sure what I would tell you to do on this, simply because at this particular point, check out the 60-minute chart, the bearish divergence between here and here. So I'm a little concerned again at putting you in. We may get a pull down into the gap area. A lot of times gaps do fill slightly. And if we draw a fib retracement, that gap fill could be between $17.52 to $13. So let's wait and see if you can get in at a better price, okay? You know, finding stocks, this is a perfect example of what it takes to find good trades. You've got to do the numbers and go through the potentials and see which is the best. All right, so Al's given us quite a good list here, but we've only found one, and it's been to the short side. All right, so on this one here, again, the market is too far gone. All right, it's too far up right now. So I would kind of hold back on this one, wait for a retracement. Even if it's not done going up long term, I don't want to put you in at 40 when I can probably put you in the low 30s, okay? So again, wait for some profit taking on all these. And that's kind of the cycle we're in the overall market right now anyway. PRFT, let's take a look at that. All right, so this one's a little better in that it hasn't taken off yet. So instead it's come down, and now it seems to be moving. We no longer have a red PTF, which is great, on the 60-minute chart. So in a case like this, this is more promising. I like this. Now, a couple things here. We had a bottom here. We had a big pull up here, big pull down here, nowhere near the bottom, but we haven't gone up above here yet. So technically, if you wanted to get above here, you could do that, and that would give you a better aspect on the overall trend, having higher highs and higher lows. So that's certainly a possibility. However, you've got a green pyramid here already, all right? You've got green here and green here, all right? You may get a little pullback here. So I would say you could go long on this one. And this is PRFT. I would put your stop at this particular point at this pyramid right here, okay? So let's take a look and see what that is. So the bottom price bar of the base leg or flat part of that triangle is 59. Let's get it right here. 59.63. So 59.62 is where your stop needs to be on that. All right, so I like that. Now, the next thing to do, let's take a look at what the target is on this. And a target on the long term is that it should rebound from here and eventually climb and make new highs. But that's going to take years. So in this particular case, I would go with the flow. All right. And your first resistance level here is 95. So this is the beginning of a new trend. We will work our way up there pretty quickly. So you have good risk to reward on that. So that's a buy. All right. I like that one. PRFT. Let's take a look at your next one, LITE. All right. So I'm liking the daily chart looks good. The weekly chart looks good. The 60-minute does not. Okay. We got a red PTF indicating we're probably going to get another pullback below 49, and we're at 52, almost 53 right now, 52.82. So bring this one back. This needs to go on a watch list, because as soon as that bearishness gets removed on the 60-minute chart, I'm liking this, okay? Not bad. All right, let's take a look at your next one, CHH. All right, and this one here seems to be messy chart, kind of a messy bottoming effect. And we've got a red PTF over here. All right, so it looks like it may be starting to turn around and go to the upside here. Let's see what type of situation we had here. We had a COVID low, we bounced up there, nice pullback here. And then looks like it tried to attack the bottom here and failed. So here's the bottom where my cursor is. And now it's moving off that bottom. All right, so A little bit of a messy chart on this, pretty expensive chart. So my thinking on this is let's just see where the potential target is. We have no PTFs green here. But if we use the Elliott wave and use fibs, let's see kind of where we're heading maybe up here. So you might have a target of around 160. So that's pretty decent. All right, I think I'm going to put you in on this one, okay? I think I like this one. So CHH is a buy. I'll put your stop at the bottom of this pyramid here. And that's going to be a low of 109.44. So do that. So that's decent. So let's take a look at your risk to reward. Very easy to see on here. So that's your risk distance. You know, you can calculate your trade size, all right, for that to get the appropriate risk on the trade. But then the potential profit is basically 1, 2, 3, almost 4 to 1. So here's your risk here, but then you have potential profit here. So that's a good potential profit compared to risk. So that's what I look for. At least it has to be at least 2 to 1 for me to get excited about it. So CHH, we'll put that on the buy list, okay? I would like to have a little cleaner chart. I'd like to break out of this channel, but if you want an early entry, not such a bad one, okay? All right, let's take a look at your last one here, LOCO. All right, another one that's come down. I like these better because it gives us a chance to get early in on the trend. Let's see what we've got here. We got green on the 60-minute chart. We've got pyramids that are still basically active there, and we're getting in early here. Okay, I like this one too. I'm going to put this one down as a buy. Now, normally, if you have a red owl here, I would hold off. But when you have green here and green here in the lower time frames, that gives me, that's called basically the exception, which would allow me to get in on this if I feel I'm getting in at a good price, and I do. So that's a good one here. All right. Our stop, if you can put it at this first bottom pyramid, that's best. If not here, all right, depends how much trade size you can get out of that. And I think the target on this, if this is a new trend up, this is going to be a huge move. But let's play devil's advocate and just say, let's say it only makes it to the retracement zone. So that would be 12.47 to 15. You still got a decent risk to reward to make this trade worth it. So I'm liking this one a lot. So if we get in here, put your stop here, there's your risk, and you can see you have at least 2 to 1 to the target. So that one goes down as a buy. All right, so we looked at how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stocks. And we actually found quite a few. We had 4 are off that list. So good job. All right, let's move on here. All right, let's see what we got here. I think, Ray, you're the next one there. Ray wants to take a look at Tesla. Good one to look at here. All right, so Tesla coming down, not done coming down. So what the weekly chart is basically saying here is that once this movement down is over, we should get a strong rebound with new highs above 400. So that's out there. Okay, and that's what this chart is showing. I'm going to open up this chart for just a moment. Now, if you're an Elliott wave person like I am, all right, I love using this to give me the overall roadmap of where I think things are eventually going. So this is considered a long-term chart, okay, not a short-term chart. So that's the first thing you have to take into account. For moves to complete on this chart, it takes years, okay? And you can certainly see this, or at least a year, depending on the move. So on this chart here, all right, beautiful move up here, but then we had a retracement, and probably now we're getting ready to move back up. So I do think that this is a bottom, all right? But I do think this move down, we're going to see this on the short-term charts, is not over yet. So if we're trying to get a really good price and time this best, all right, it makes sense to wait until the lower time frame charts are bullish again. Otherwise, you know, if you get in here, you know, in a couple of weeks, it may be even lower, you know, into the 180 mark, for gosh sakes. And that's a better price to get in. But I do feel that once this is over, we're going to get a turnaround and head back up. So I'm bullish long term on Tesla. Now, let's take a look at what the short-term charts are showing. Okay, so we're heading down right now. One of the things that's kind of interesting we want to keep an eye on is we're starting to see a little bullish divergence here. So that's bullish. Look at how well the bearish or short pyramid trading points captured this move down. And that's this little leg in here amplified on this chart here. That's one of the things I like about looking at short-term charts, intermediate and long-term. I get the overall picture of what's going on here. We've got a red PTF on the daily chart, which is indicating a low below this low here. So at the very least, we're probably not coming out. Now, that doesn't mean coming out for a long trade yet. That doesn't mean you can't get a rebound here before it goes down. All right, definitely you could have a little surge up because we're due for some profit taking, okay, on the leg down. All right, which means there'll be buying activity coming in. But as long as this stays red, then we've got to realize that there's a 75% probability the correction to the downside is not over. So let's put this on a watch list and wait for that lower time frame of the daily and even the 60-minute chart changes, okay? All right, let's take a look at Coinbase. All right, one of my favorites as well, but again, it's in a corrective mode. So Coinbase, I think it's a great long-term trade. Again, I think as I was saying over the last couple of weeks for everybody who was being here in the cryptos, you know, I took the cryptos off the buy list simply because they were due for a correction. And here it is. All right. Again, a great example of why you don't want to chase markets. If you get in here, would you be happy now? No. All right. Get in here. All right. That's where you want to get in at the beginning of a trend. So this is still coming down and we got red here and red here. It's not done yet. It's in the target zone a little bit further. We've got four, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 here, histogram bars of a bearish owl. Statistically, the owl gives us at least 4 when it changes color. So when it goes from green to red. So we've had the 4. So it's getting close to a bottom, but let's put this again. Let's put Coinbase here, as well as a lot of the cryptos on the watch list, because I think after this correction is done, you're not going to want to miss a buying opportunity. All right. I would basically, and again, check with your financial advisor, but my feeling is all in after this move down has finished and we see some bullishness come back in. All right, Ray, thanks for that. All right, let's see what else we got. Stu is here. Hey, Stu. All right, PayPal, PYPL. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so PayPal is right around the 64 mark after a big move down here. So again, when I see a stock like this that has gone way up and way down, I'm looking at this as a buying opportunity because look at all the white that you have above here for this thing to go. You've had a lot of shorts do really well, and if you used our software, you would have done well, but they've covered, okay? And so at this particular point, there may be a few shorts left on some short-term trades, but any bullishness that comes into this, they're going to cover, all right? And that's going to create a fairly good surge up. Now, we've had a surge recently. You can see it on the 60-minute chart. So we've had a big move up, pretty good size move up off a bottom here. What we want to do, if this is a bottom, we have to make sure that this holds. And it certainly looks like they tried to bring it down and it popped back up there. So that's a good sign. Look at the bullish divergence on the weekly chart. Love that. Okay. So things are really starting to get pretty good in terms of possibilities here. You've got a pyramid trading point there. Okay. So you got green here, green here. I think because let's just see if we took this high out today. We did. I'm going to recommend this one as a buy, okay, PYPL. And what I think you need to do, all right, is at least put your stop below here. So 56.46. And again, if you can afford to put it way down at the very, very bottom, that's best. All right, and you can, or you could buy an option, okay, make it a long-term option. Because I think at the very least, this thing, if this is a turnaround trend, you'll probably be good for a little while on this. Now, your short term, situation, playing devil's advocate, I would call this one of the worst case scenarios is 70, probably 71 to 83. Okay, so you'd have to put your stop under here for you to get any type of risk to reward into the target zone. Your long term could be taking out the old high at some point. Okay, and again, even if you got a long term retracement where you'd hold this for a lot longer than on that chart, you're looking at 152. All right, so there's huge potential here. So I'm liking PayPal. I'm going to put that on the buy list. Okay, good. All right, let's take a look at MRNA. MRNA. All right, so this is popped off its bottom two. All right, the PTF on the weekly chart is showing a target of $500, and we're at 99, almost 100 bucks. So you're not going to get there tomorrow, right? That's going to take probably 3 years to get there, maybe 4. So I don't know how viable that is unless you want to buy it and hold it and not worry about short-term consequences. All right, for the rest of us that would trade this on a daily chart here, you've got green, green. I like the pullback here. That's kind of nice, okay? I don't feel like I'm chasing the markets as much. So that's good. I think it's a little too early to go into this because we still have an active pyramid on the 60-minute chart and still have red. So let's put this on a watch list for looking at this next week and see if this bullishness continues on the daily chart after we get a pullback that's completed. So we got to wait for this pullback to complete. And it looks to me like we're probably close, which is why I wanted to go on the watch list. And let's just see if we draw a fib from here to here. You see you're in the target zone. So you're in good shape. It just may go a little further in it. So I'm thinking in a week we'll have a little bit more information on this, and you're not going to miss the big move. So let's give it a week and just make sure the move down is over. All right, good one to look at. All right, Dash, DASSH. All right, so Dash, all right, is already excelled to some degree on the daily chart. So again, we had a pullback here. All right, see why I like pullbacks? When you get the pullback, boom, okay? That's your next chance. So you had the pullback, we'll get bearish divergence. I wouldn't do it now. It looks like you're gonna get another high above 106. So I'd have your stop here on if you're long this already, put your stop on this pyramid on the 60-minute chart. If you wanna micromanage this trade. Okay, so if you're position trading this, that would be 103.35. If you're long-term trading on this, then you want to have your stop on one of these pyramids on the weekly chart. But I would not go into this yet. Okay, it's just run up too much right now. Okay, all right. So that is Dash. Let's take a look at TEAM, Team, and see how that one's coming up. All right, long-term Team should take out the high back in 2022. So we're looking at quite a bit, $450. We're at 238. Again, that will take years to get there. All right, and on this particular situation here, you've run up a little bit. We've got yellow PTF now. So the question is this a major bottom? And are we going to go on up? And if so, you could get in now and just hold it for a long-term trade. So Team would be an okay trade to recommend now for a long-term trade. And you have to, what I would do is put your stop, under at least this pyramid here. So 186, let me see, 184, it looks like 184.49. And I would hold this for a long time. So if you're not willing to hold this for years, don't go into this, okay? Because this would be classified as a long-term entry here. All right, so that's Team. W, let's take a look at WBD. All right, so this one, nice pattern to get ready for a bottom here. Is it in yet? Could be. Got to wait for a turnaround. So we got red here, active pyramid here, and we're kind of still in a basing pattern. I put this one on the watch list because I think this will eventually be a decent long trade once it stabilizes. But we got to make sure the bottom's in, and I'm not sure it is. Or if it is, then I'm not sure the little brief pull down we're seeing now is over. So again, let's bring this back next week, okay? All right, SIRI, SIRI. Let's see how this one's doing. Okay, so we got a little more bullishness present here. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's open up the weekly chart. Big move up here. All right, correction like that. Let's just draw on a couple fibs real quick on this to give us an idea. And I'm not going to start here at the very bottom. I'm going to start at the first major pullback there. Okay, that's the way I draw them. All right, so we hit the target zone. Okay, good sign. Now we have bullishness, no more red. Boy, look at that. Boom, way up here. Okay, so we have a pyramid. We have a green light for a trade here. Target, long-term target on this one is going to be somewhere along this area here. Okay, so we should get back into the target zone. So we're looking at probably at 531. I would say probably around $8 at least. Could go a lot higher. Okay, so what do you do with this? All right, let's see. We got a green light on the 60. We got a green light here. We do have a pyramid here going against us. So that's kind of interesting. So probably you should wait until that pyramid gets taken out at this particular point. Let me just see what we have cooking here. I don't know. It looks pretty good. You got a pyramid up here, pyramid here. And let's, you've got a higher high. You'd have to put your stop here for this one, okay? You can't put it here because you haven't taken out this high yet. So what you could get is the pyramid's indicating this could happen before this. So I think what we'll do on this is put this on a watch list. Let's come back next week. I don't like the bearish pyramid on the daily chart, but let's come back next week now and see how that's doing. Now, if prices this week don't go down, but go up and go above the base leg, then you can go long, okay? And we'll take a look at that next week. All right, so that's SIRI. And your last one here is ILMN. All right, so this one looks great on the daily chart, looks okay for the green PTF on the 60, not good on the weekly because of the red PTF. So that's indicating that this low, there's a high probability this low is not the final low. Now that doesn't mean you can't get a bounce up. Okay, it doesn't mean that. It just means that this bottom, all right, this is not a buy and hold here forever. Okay, so let's see if there's an opportunity because we are getting an opportunity on the lower time frames to go long here. So this would be a counter trend trade based on the weekly chart, but a completely legitimate trend trade on the daily chart. Let's draw in our target. Let me just play around with some numbers here to see where the target is on this. So if we choose that, which is the second high, lower high in that category. So that, all right, so the target on this is 253 to 353. That's a 100% almost return. Question is, you've got to put your stop fairly low here. All right. If you put it at the bottom here, I don't think you're going to have quite a 2-to-1. All right. So you can't really do that. What I would do is draw the fib retracements in here on this move and put it under the fib retracement. So I put it at around 109, and that will give you your 2-to-1 to the target. So ILMN is a buy, okay, with a target of 253 to 358. And of course, you could use options as well. All right. All right. Good job, Stuart. Thank you. All right. Let's see, Aggie. Let's see what you got here. All right. Yes, MGA. Take a look at MGA. All right. So the 60-minute chart is showing bearishness. Okay. It's still kind of coming down. You can see that come down in here. Yeah, it's not quite ready yet. All right. For a long trade. It may be starting to base here but it's got to prove itself a lot more. Okay, that's kind of a messy channel. You don't want to get stuck in that. So bring that one back next week. Okay, we'll take a look at that until it looks promising. All right, GE. All right, GE is up in the stratosphere right now. All right, so GE has come back up, and again, is it better to get in here or here? All right, here. So I'm not going to issue a buy on this right now simply because let's wait for the correction on this. So that's kind of the way I would play that. I do think after the correction, it could be quite a good buy again. All right. I do anticipate us taking out the all-time high back in, in 2018 or something. But you're going to have a decent pullback here. So wait it out a little bit longer. Now, that doesn't mean you might not get short-term highs, up to 130, 135, but that's not enough profit to make the trade worthwhile on this time frame. On this time frame, you've got a red, so it's showing it's going back into the mid to lower 120s, so you wouldn't want to take a trade there either. So bring it back next week, and we'll see. Okay, it's a no-go for right now. And IBM, new chips. All right, let's see what IBM. Okay, IBM is climbing out, but this climb out, according to the PTF, we got to have a green PTF here. In other words, the PTF has got to change to green for me to get into a long trade here. All right, so or yellow, but for it to turn yellow, you'd have to take this bottom out. All right, so this may be one of the 25% times the PTF is wrong on the weekly chart. It may turn to green. So when a PTF turns from a solid to a solid, it means it did not predict it correctly. So it does that 25% of the time. 75% of the time, it'll go from a solid to a yellow, and that indicates that it was correct. So we're showing more highs, short-term highs on the 60. We've no longer got a green PTF here. So let's hold off on this. I'm not going to go long on this right now, because even if I wanted to take a short-term scalp trade on this, we're already in an area where we're seeing bearish divergence here. Okay, we've had maybe a 3, a 4, and we're probably maybe getting close to ending on wave 5 in terms of Elliott wave on the 60-minute time frame. So let's wait for the correction. Okay, that's IBM. Thank you. All right, let's keep going here. All right, looked at quite a few. All right, Alexander. All right, so let's take a look at yours here. LMND. LMND. All right, so let me take a look at the history here. A little bit of history. Tough to get a really accurate Elliott wave count on the weekly chart. Not enough history. Looks like we're bottoming here on the weekly chart. That's a good sign. There's quite a decent amount of swinging going on this basing pattern. We had a move out, looked promising, and then an attack on the low again. And guess what? The low held. All right, so that's bullish. So here's our low. I believe it held anyway. Let me just check that. Maybe by a sliver, maybe not. Yep, it held by a sliver. So that's a good sign. All right, kind of a messy market though. A little bit on the 60. Look at that. That's not the greatest. All right, so then we made a move up. You've got a pyramid here. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a force moving down here, and we've got a red owl here indicating that force. Now, we had a pyramid trading point entry here with a stop here. So that stop will most likely hold. But what I would do on this is I would wait for the owls on both the daily chart and the 60-minute chart to turn green, and then I would put that in as a go. Okay, so LMND goes on the watch list for new folks. Now, if you're in it already and your stop is at this pyramid, all right, you just hold it. Okay, that has probably a fairly high probability of holding. But for those looking to get in, you might be able to get in at a better price and then time it a little better. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking on that. All right, USO, the oil ETF. All right, let's open up the weekly chart first, okay? and take a look at what happened here. We got a big move down here, and now we're kind of basing, and then it kind of popped up off its bottom. And here's where we are now. Okay, we're pulling back. So any long trades, all right, got to have your stop here. Okay, keep it at the bottom here. And it's coming down. You may get a double bottom and then a reversal. If that bottom gets taken out, then we have to watch for another new bottom. All right, so that's kind of where we're at now on this. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Bottom for stop, okay, at this particular point. And if that does hold and we get a move back up, then we're looking at some type of high between 99 and 124 on oil. Okay, so that's the long-term chart. Here, let's take a look and see on this pullback. So we had a pretty big pullback here. Okay, went a lot lower than a normal type of pullback. All right, so that's kind of concerning, but not. It doesn't negate the uptrend because we see this in the beginning of moves to the upside. But at this particular point, I'm not going to recommend it for new folks at this point. Now, back in here, definite recommendation, okay? But again, your stop's got to be at least here or here to give you the most potential during a pullback, especially in the beginning when you get a big bounce off the bottom. I would anticipate if this is a bottom here, this is going to hold, because this is a big move down where the bears tried to take out that bottom and couldn't do it. So I don't think they're going to be able to do it now. But I do think it's kind of in an area where it's either basing, getting ready to go back up, and let's see that for proof before we go in, okay? So USO, if you're in it, hold it with your stop at the low point, because chances are you got into it a while back when we first recommended it. But at this particular point, for those new, don't go in it yet, okay? All right, let's take a look at your next one, UCO. All right, so this one here, all right, pull back here, possible bottom in here back in many years ago. Did get a little bit of a pullback here. Red here, I see no green PTFs, messy market kind of a little bit at this particular point. This pyramid was taken out. So if anything, this is kind of in no man's land right now, waiting. We're kind of waiting for this to move back up. Probably a bottom here, so we should get a move up. Let's just wait. Let's let it prove itself. So again, bring these back, okay? Bring them back next week. All right, that's a no-go for right now. NFLX, of course, that's Netflix. All right, so Netflix, oh, red PTF on the 60-minute chart. Again, you know, this is moved up quite a bit already. And is this going to make a new high? It's possible, but I'm not going to put you in it with a red PTF indicating we're going back into the 460s. So this is going to have a decent correction. So hold off on this. All right. Ultra. Alta, I should say, not Ultra. Okay, Alta. All right, green PTF there, red PTF here, and this red PTF remains accurate. We've already retraced up to the zone here, here. So this is green, so we're probably going to go a little bit higher on this move up. Okay, so here's what all three time frames are basically saying. Probably a little further up based on this here, okay? That leads me to believe we're going higher. This leads me to believe we're not going to take this high out. Instead, once this is over, we'll fall back down. If this changes to green, I'll change my mind, okay? But for right now, no go on that. Okay, and that's ULTA. All right, ZZR. Let's take a look at that. Boy, you guys are good today. An awesome amount. All right, so CZR, let's see. All right, so it got to a fib high here we were anticipating, and then's moved back down. Again, like the others, there's no rush to get into this at this particular point. I would hold off on this. It's kind of directionless right now. Why tie your money up into that? it could drift for a while. So I would hold off on that one. All right, let's take a look at your next one. AZTA. Let's see what this one has to bring for us. All right, so this one's a little bit more bullish on the short-term time frames, but you got the PTF red here. All right, so it's indicating that this is a correction in a downtrend that's not over. Now, again, if that abruptly turns to green, I'll change my mind on that. But that's the target for right now, 70 to 91. Okay. Again, it's not worth taking the trade at this particular point. Okay, too close to a potential target. All right, let's take a look at NBIX. All right, NBIX, definitely bullish on all three time frames. And again, we've reached a new high here. And we're probably long-term. Let's just open up this chart a little bit here. Okay, so the question is, after this high here, did we have enough of a pullback? And I think we did. All right, let's put this right around here and draft it up to this high here. So we had enough of a pullback here. So we're already in wave 5, and we're in wave 3 of 5. Now, if this goes higher than this, then this is a wave 3 that we're in, and we're in wave 5 of wave 3 right now. All right, so that's that. Let's see where this possibly could go at this particular point. I got to erase this. All right, and let me just put the extension in to see if we've already reached it. So I think what I'm going to do with this is actually go here for this. Oops, wrong one. All right, drawing tools. I want the extensions, not the time extensions. I really don't. I think I want to use way back in here. So here, 3, 4. Now, the reason I'm using this as a 3 is because the PTF is pretty high here. It's the highest one. So we didn't quite reach the target. So we're kind of still in that wave 5, but there's the target. Okay, pretty close. So, and it's too late to get in here and here. So pass on that one. NBIX is already too high. Marvel, let's take a look at MRVL. All right, so this one retraced, took off again. And I do believe now, I'm going to erase all these. We don't need these short time ones up here again. This is interesting because this is the target we were using for that to pull back. So let's erase those. Okay, so the PTF just turned yellow here. It's green here, green here. All right, so I'm kind of liking this for a long-term trade to the upside. So let's draw a extension here, low here, and we had another movement here. So 1, 2, you didn't have a new low. So let's draw this here to here to here. So that's kind of our target. It was a deep move down. So we have a PTF target that's higher than the first zone for the fib. So our target on this could be in here at 93.86. All right, so that's not too bad. And you've got a nice pyramid here to anchor your stop on. You're going to be in this for probably 2 years or so. So your stop can go under that pyramid at 50.34. Now, this is actually supporting this here. We have bearish divergence, bearish divergence. I would not trade this as a short-term trade because I think you're going to get a move correction down because of the bearish divergence here. You have an owl here, so maybe one more puff to the upside, all right, before we go into some profit taking. If you put your stop at this pyramid here, that'll survive any profit taking. So I'm going to put this down as a long hold on Marvel until you get to the target zone. This is not a short-term trade or a short-term, swing trade. This is a longer-term swing trade. Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking at. All right, Al is back with SD, the SDGR. Let's see what we got on this one. All right. So it's too late. Okay. Too late to get into this. At this particular point, this would have been a great trade off the 60-minute chart, not so great off the daily. And we've got a green PTF still on the weekly. So what you're seeing, I think, is a correction down to the bottom, and we'll see if this bottom holds. Okay. We're going lower than this, but here's the bottom when this moved down. So we could go a little lower and turn around still. And so I think it's just too far gone to the short side for you to make a short trade. I mean, look how many pyramids you had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pyramids on the 60-minute chart. So you probably, here's what I think is going to happen. You're probably going to get a correction to the upside on this at some point to around 29, almost 30 to 32. And then one more dive down. So I think probably you could see that move to the upside. And then maybe you'll have a short trade then. So you can put that on a watch list at that point. Okay. Keep an eye on it. All right. Let's keep going here. Eleanor, how are you? All right, Eleanor, let's take a look at yours here. So DDOG. All right. So this one looks like it is climbing out on the weekly chart of a correction. So that's a good sign. Not a lot of history in this. All right. So we're seeing a little bearish divergence on the actual 60-minute chart. And we're starting to see that too on the daily chart. So I think at this particular point, I would wait for a pullback, okay, before doing anything with that. All right, let's take a look at Apple. I mean, if you're long, stay long on it, but you probably get a little pullback, and that depends if you're position trading or not. All right, so here was this area that you know, it came down to and sprung off on Apple. And let's see what we've got cooking with Apple. All right, looks like we kind of had our pullback here, so that's good. We had it here. Let me get rid of that. All right, so short term, I think you're probably going to take out this high. Looks pretty good. We just got off a good correction here. Now we have bullishness coming back in. So that's a good sign. So the 60-minute chart is giving us a bullish pyramid. A high is around 199, but you got a red PTF here. Okay, so we can't go long. And even if you could go long, all right, you're talking the channel starts in 10 points. So it could go much higher, but this PTF's got to go away. Okay, it's red right now. So no go on that. All right, Google. Google, we just put back on the buy list, okay, for this one. So this one was looking pretty good. It did not have a red PTF anywhere. So our target on this now is 159 to 206.95. So again, you're close to the target at this particular point, but it could get into the upper realm of the target. So I'm kind of liking that. It's a little late to get in, okay, at this particular point. So I'm not going to put this on the buy list for this week, okay? All right, Oracle, let's take a look at that. All right, let me just readjust these indicators here. Okay, Oracle is bouncing off the bottom. I see no red. This is a good one, okay? I like this one. All right, so let's figure out at the very least where this is going. So let's draw a fib extension. All right, this is a buy, okay? This is a really, really nice one. I don't mind getting in a little early, but this PTF owl is very close to going green. Put your stop at the bottom of the pyramid. So right here at 101.74. Target is 129. There's your 2-to-1 to get to the target. So this is a really nice one, okay? I'm liking this one a lot. So good job on that. PTF supports a long trade on the weekly chart too. Okay, so this This is excellent. This one just jumps out at you. And that's kind of what you got to do. You got to look through a lot of stocks until they actually jump out. All right, so good job on that. APO, let's take a look at that one. All right, so this one, if you're bullish, you can stay in it, just trail your stops up, okay? Too late to get in it, okay? It's already moved up. It's due for another pullback at some point, okay? Not a lot of history also on the weekly. It's just been, you know, up, so kind of due for one. All right, let's take a look at your next one, GTLB. All right, not a lot of history on this one either. Let's see if it broke above here. Okay, so it's not broken above there. It's very bullish on the shorter time frames though. My problem with this is where is it going? Okay, how do you get a target in that? There's not enough history, right? On either the weekly or the daily. This gives us help, all right? So my target based on the 60-minute, because you're going to have more price bars on a 60 than you're going to get on a daily in any given period of time or a weekly. So my target to this is 71.53 to 80. That's where I think it's going. So I would manage this trade on the 60-minute time frame. All right, so you've got 3 pyramids here. All right, you've got to put your stop under not this pyramid, but this pyramid here, this low here, okay? Because you could get a little pullback. So put your stop at 59.87, which would be here, all right? And if you did that, you do not have a 2-to-1, okay? So you'd have to use this pyramid here. Problem with using that pyramid is if you get any type of profit taking, you're going to get taken out. Okay, because the profit taking target zone possibly has part of it below the stop at the pyramid. So I would say no on this. Okay, if you'd gotten in on these pyramids here earlier, that would be better. So I think it's too late. But not a bad one. Okay, close. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, let's see. Alexander, when to get back in, MARA. Now, we covered this one already, okay? And he's asking when to get back in, and the answer is not yet, okay? For the simple reason it's diving down. I mean, no matter what time frame you're looking at, you can see the move down. Now, once the move down completes, of course, that's what you're asking. Get back in then. But it hasn't completed, and it's going down a lot more than a normal retracement because it's exceeding this area. So this is probably going to attack the bottom, and you don't want to touch it right now, okay? So do not go back in at this point. Let's take a look at PINS. You know, eventually it will be okay to go in, but not now. All right, PINS, you're watching this one. Okay, red PTF on the 60. So it looks like, according to the PTF, we're going to have a little bit more movement selling down. That should take it below 35.70, and we're at 37. A little toppy here. Looks like it's getting ready to go for a red owl there. So I would imagine we're going to be pulling down on this. So don't go long on this one either. Let's see how far it comes down, and then take a look at it, okay, for a possible long trade, okay? All right, Al's back with Keno. Great stocks today, guys, to look at. All right, so Keno for a short, no, it's too late, okay? If you had asked me back up when it was around $9 or $10, I would have said yes, because you had some entries, you know, right here at the top, And as soon as that PTF turned red, you might have been able to do something, but it was green here. So, actually, no, I wouldn't have taken a short position here either, because this is green here. So this was one you just missed. If anything, look for a long position after this ends. So I would put Kano on a possible watch list for a long position after the bearishness is done. Okay. Eleanor, my pleasure. Okay, my pleasure. All right. Anybody else? Boy, I can't believe we've been here for an hour and 11 minutes already. Unbelievable. All right. So let me give it a second there. I'm going to go over the winners. I'll wrap it up in a minute and go over the winners and losers. I just want to make sure that we have no more trickling in. All right. So I'm waiting for that. Let me just run over and take a look at what's happening on the day trading time frames. So we use the same type of analysis, but what we do on the day trading time frames is we look for intraday movement swings. And for that, we need to go to short time frames. So we have like the 15-second, we have the 1 minute, and the 5 minute. So remember, on the longer term charts that we looked at previously, we were at the 60-minute chart. We were at the daily chart and the weekly. So quite a bit different, but same type of analysis. So on the MES, which is the micro E-mini futures contract for March of 24, all right, it's showing a red PTF. So we're still sliding down a little bit. But if this holds green, once this slide ends, then you're open up for a long trade. This is red though here. So we can't go long until that's taken out. So there's a little bit of waiting involved here until the right setup comes along. Okay. All right. So it looks like I think we got them all. All right. Good job today, guys. All right. Let me just go over that real quick. Go over a couple of these here, and then we'll call it a day. And I'll put it back on the futures charts while we wrap it up. All right. So let me go back to that. All right. So. Woo, tired, right? All right, so winners today, CMCSA, and that's for a short trade, okay? PRFT, long trade. CHH, long trade. LOCO, long trade. PayPal, PYPL, long trade. TEAM, a long trade, but a long-term trade, all right? So you're going to be in that for years, all right? ILMN, long trade. MRVL, MRVL. This is a long trade, also for a long-term trade, another possible year-plus trade. And then Oracle. And I like Oracle a lot, okay? So Oracle, I think, goes to the top of my list today. All right, those on the watch list, LITE, Tesla, TSLA, Coin, COIN. And again, I'm very bullish on all the cryptos, but they're pulling back. So let them pull back, let them do that, and then load the boat again. And if you come every week, we'll look at them and you'll time it well. All right, MRNA is on the watch list. WBD, SIRI, LMND, and CANO. So as traders, what you want to do is kind of look at your watch list, kind of like salespeople look at a sales pipeline. The more trades you get into that watch list, all right, the more you'll have trades to take every week, because that watch list will grow. They'll come off the watch list and go into the either buy or short, trading list, so to speak, that you can take right away. So build your watch list. Watch lists are key to always being able to have a handful of trades ready to go. Great session today. You guys and gals are just awesome. All right. We looked at a lot of stocks, and this is trading, and this is how you got to find the good ones. Even if you use scanners like we do, we still have to take a look at the possible candidates that the scanners give us, and then go through the charts and see if those really represent ideal trades. And you don't want to put your money in things that waste your time or your money getting stopped out. Take your time. This is a really important process, and it will pay you dividends in the future. All right, so we'll see you back here next week. I'm going to put it back on the charts now. And what I'm going to do here is show you some intraday time frames. All right, put a little music on, and let's just scroll through a couple of these really quick, okay? Let's go through. This is, we run a day trading room. So these are the ones we look at that have very good liquidity to day trade. Now, we'd love to trade Bitcoin during the day, but the liquidity is not very good on the micros on that. So there is MYM. We got a red PTF on the 60 and a green here and a red here. So that's out of sync. So no trade there. MNQ, at least that we have red across the board here. So this is more in sync for a move down, but we have a green owl and a green owl, so it's not quite ready, and even a pyramid here. So that's maybe a good short. Maybe it'll make another quick high or something, but I don't think so. But it may set up for a good short, but not quite yet. M2K, which is the Russell micro. All right. So we're seeing a little contradiction here. This is green here. All right. And just because you get a buy on a green, you still got to figure out what the target is, right? Okay. So the target on this is where the PTF comes in really helpful, is a green with a target way up here. Do you think that's a good trade? So here's our target. Let me put a horizontal line up here. Here's our target, and here's where we are now. We got green, green. We got a little red here. I would take this long position, okay? And I'd put my stop at the very, very bottom of this price bar. So if I was day trading this particular stock or this particular futures market, which is the M2K, I'd go long here. You got to calculate your trade size. But look at the payoff, all right? If we go long here, and we're able to put our stop here, and we get in here, this is your risk distance. But look at the potential payoff. And this would be a PTF scalp trade. This is why I love this indicator. Okay, 75% probability. Now, doesn't mean you have a 75% probability of being successful here. Doesn't, okay? Because what if it takes one more dip down, stops us out, and then goes up? The PTF would be right, but you would have lost on the trade, right? So you got to keep the stop loss placement on PTF trades is really important. So I'm getting a good owl there. I like this trade. This would be one that I would load the boat on, okay, for a day trade. And I would be in this probably maybe for, I don't know, 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how successful the trade is. So this is a good one, M2K. All right, I'm not telling you to trade this at home. Check with your financial advisor, but it gives you an idea of how we analyze the markets. All right, NG, love this market. This is the Henry Hub natural gas. It's the full E-mini on this one. And, it's heading down. Looks like we may be getting ready for a reversal. We got a red PTF on the 5-minute chart. So any trade would be just simply a counter trend trade here. All right. So when I see something like this, what I look for here, did we get a hook at the bottom? Yeah, a little bit right there. Okay, we did not get a big hook here. So we're due for another hook down. The question is we haven't gotten above this high here. We have no pyramids. We do have this, we do have this, we do have this. There's no red here. That's a good sign. But we need to take out this high to have a definition of an uptrend in place. So if we take that high out, that would warrant a trade, okay? And then the next question is, where could this possibly go? Well, I'm not going to use a anchoring point for the retracement any higher than this ledge here because of the red PTF over here. So for this, my target on this would be basically from here to here. So that's my target, 2.574 to 2.611. I'd have to put my stop here, and you really wouldn't have a 2-to-1 target range, would you? So not the greatest trade, okay? Maybe a better trade would wait for this to get here and then go short if this stays red, okay? Because that means it's going to have one more impulsive leg down. All right, so, all right, NG, there we have it. So far, the M2K is a better trade. Gold. All right, so gold's come down. Nice trade this morning on that, obviously. Bottoming, basing. Okay, it looks like this bottom held. Got a red PTF here, no go for a long trade. All right. Copper. Okay, copper's heading up. Green PTF. Are we going to break that high here? Possibly, yes. Okay, so this would not be a bad trade to take to the upside. I'd have to see I don't think we have enough risk to reward on that though. Okay. It's a little too far gone. If we were able to get in early on this pyramid, I'd say yes, but not now. All right, let's see. We got last one is crude oil. Look at that. When crude moves. What a great short trade. Too late now, but the pyramids caught that beautifully. Okay, also the uptrend too. So this looks like it's going into a major correction on the 5 minutes. So I would imagine you're going to get one more hook down. So you'll probably get something like that. Always look for the hook before the trend ends. All right, so I'll leave it there for now. Let's put it on, which one did I like the best? The M2K, I said, right? So let's see how that one possibly could do. And I'll have to close the room in a few minutes. Can't keep it open forever. But great day today. Thank you so much. Give us a like, and we'll be back next week. And thanks so much. Have a great week. Bye-bye.